For almost 100 years, soda was a two-horse race. Coke and Pepsi. Whatever came third barely counted. Then in 2023, the order broke. Dr. Pepper, that strange regional cola that advertises a blend of 23 flavors, slipped past Pepsi to become the number 2 soda in America. A year later, Sprite pushed Pepsi out of the top 3. For the first time in more than 40 years, Pepsi was in 4th place, behind a lemon lime drink. So how does one of the most recognizable brands in the world drop that far that fast? And how much of it did Pepsi do to itself? To answer that, you have to go back to when Pepsi almost won the whole thing. In 1975, Pepsi tried something bold. It set up booths in shopping malls, handed strangers 2 unmarked cups, and asked which one they liked better. No branding, just the taste. More often than not, people picked Pepsi. The Pepsi challenge rattled Atlanta. Coca-Cola's own research backed up the blind tests. People really did prefer Pepsi's flavor. The cola that had led America for 80 years was losing on the drink itself. The 1980s turned into one long, expensive fight. Pepsi signed Michael Jackson in what was then the biggest celebrity endorsement deal ever made. Between 1980 and 1984, Coca-Cola's market share slipped from 24.3% to 21.8%, while Pepsi kept going after younger buyers. And Pepsi wasn't just selling a drink. It was selling an identity, the Pepsi generation, young and a little rebellious and pointedly not your parents' soda. It spooked Coca-Cola badly enough that in April 1985, CEO Roberto Goizueta stood at a podium in New York and announced New Coke, a decision later judged one of the worst in the industry's history. The company rewrote its 99-year-old formula to taste more like Pepsi. Customers revolted. Angry calls jammed the Atlanta headquarters. Within months, the old recipe returned as Coca-Cola Classic, and people came back with it. Pepsi had pushed Coca-Cola into wrecking the very product that made it famous, and Coca-Cola still came out on top. The catch with a taste test is that nobody drinks with only their tongue. People drink with memory and habit, with the logo they've seen in every diner, every movie, every school vending machine. Coca-Cola was simply everywhere, and being everywhere counted for more than winning a sip. By 2010, even Diet Coke had passed Pepsi in sales. The diet version of Coke was now outselling regular Pepsi. The Wall Street Journal declared the cola war is over, though Pepsi kept fighting a war it had already lost. What came next was slower and quieter, and mostly self-inflicted. Through the late 2010s and into the pandemic, PepsiCo did what nervous companies do. It raised prices. Their reasoning was simple enough. Inflation was climbing, costs were rising, and over several quarters, PepsiCo pushed through double-digit price hikes. Revenue held up. On paper, the business looked healthy. Volume was another story. People bought fewer cans, fewer bottles, fewer bags. And as prices went up, shoppers started noticing what they'd let slide for years. The bags had gotten smaller. The bottles had gotten shorter. A 32-ounce Gatorade had quietly become 28 ounces at the same price, which works out to a 14% increase with no announcement and no sale. Less product for the same money. That's shrinkflation, and once customers catch it, they don't forget it. Senator Elizabeth Warren wrote directly to CEO Ramon Laguarta and called the practice exploitation. President Biden called it a ripoff on national television. Carrefour, one of the largest grocery chains in the world, pulled PepsiCo products from stores in France, Italy, Spain, Poland, and Belgium, and posted signs naming the company. The backlash was global, and it felt personal. On an earnings call, LaGuardia admitted that the need for value is impacting every household in the US. Put plainly, shoppers had decided Pepsi wasn't worth the money anymore. Store brands, the generic snacks and sodas nobody used to count as rivals, started picking up the customers Pepsi was losing. Since 2020, the price per ounce of salty snacks jumped, with prices overall up 21%. People saw the gap, switched, and mostly stayed switched. What Pepsi burned through in those years was trust. That takes decades to build and only a few bad quarters to lose. When someone grabs a bag of Doritos they've bought 100 times, they aren't really deciding anything. They're following a habit. Shrink the bag while charging more, and the habit breaks. A lot of people felt the change before they could name it. Something was off, and something else was sitting right there on the shelf. The soda had been slipping the whole time, but the drop was slow enough to miss. Between 2010 and 2023, the volume of core Pepsi-branded products fell 32%. Close to a third of Pepsi's drink business gone, not in a crash or scandal, but one can and 1 year at a time. Dr. Pepper walked into the gap. It had a clear personality, leaned into being a little weird, and became a favorite with Gen Z, the exact young audience the old Pepsi generation brand somehow couldn't hold on to. By 2023, Dr. Pepper had caught up. By 2024, Sprite had passed Pepsi too, and Pepsi had dropped to fourth. For the first time in more than 4 decades, Pepsi was out of the top 3. Think about what that took. Pepsi spent 50 years defining itself as the anti-Coke, the younger, hungrier challenger with something to prove. The moment it started coasting on its legacy, trimming package sizes instead of earning loyalty, it didn't just lose ground to Coke. It lost ground to almost everyone. By 2025, the stock was down nearly 24% in a single year. Net income fell from $9.5 billion in 2024 to $8.2 billion. North American beverage sales dropped 3%. The snack side, the Lay's and Doritos and Cheetos that were supposed to be the other half of the empire, saw volumes fall too. Then came the call no company wants. The activist investors showed up. In September 2025, Elliott Investment Management, one of the more feared hedge funds on Wall Street, and the firm behind painful shakeups at AT&T and Starbucks, took a $4 billion stake in PepsiCo. It was not a vote of confidence. Elliott's message was blunt. The company was underperforming, leadership was too slow, and shareholders were out of patience. By December 2025, PepsiCo had signed a formal deal with Elliott. It agreed to cut 20% of its United States product lineup, drop prices on Lay's, Doritos, Cheetos, and Tostitos by as much as 15%, close Frito-Lay plants, automate work, and shrink its workforce. The company that had spent years piling on new products was now cutting them out of necessity rather than plan. And underneath all of it sits a problem no price cut fixes. GLP-1 weight loss drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy are spreading through American households. Analysts expect those households to make up 35% of all food and beverage spending by 2030. People on GLP-1s eat less, and the snacks tend to go first. They put down the chips, drink water instead of soda, and stop buying the exact products PepsiCo built its business on. PepsiCo bought the prebiotic soda brand Poppi in March 2025 for $1.6 billion. It rolled out smaller 120 calorie and 100 calorie packs and launched its own prebiotic soda line. Registered dietitian Ashley Koff was not buying it. Pepsi is not getting it. They are doing a marketing play, not what a person looking to optimize their weight health using a GLP-1 actually needs. The irony is hard to miss. Pepsi built its whole 20th century run on one idea, that people wanted something different from the default option. Now shoppers are doing exactly that, reaching for prebiotic sodas, protein drinks, and sparkling water, anything that feels new and chosen on purpose. And Pepsi, the original challenger, is watching it happen from the outside. The Pepsi story is bigger than soda. It is what happens when a company confuses revenue with trust. For years, Pepsi gave customers less and charged them more to protect the numbers. But customers are not line items. They remember, they vote with their wallets, and when something cheaper and more honest shows up on the shelf, they switch and do not look back. Pepsi won the taste test in 1975. It just found out, 50 years later, that the fight was never really about taste. The company that once made Coca-Cola panic, that signed Michael Jackson, that called itself the drink of a generation, is now fighting to stay in the top 4. Whether Pepsi survives is not really the question. The question is whether anyone would notice if it did not. If you like this video, click the next one on your screen to find out why 60,000 mothers are suing Kellogg's.